participating in the kirtan for some time. So I'll do a very short kirtan and then we'll have a informal discussion. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srimati Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again, I want to express my happiness at having the opportunity to be here with all you wonderful devotees. I'll read one verse of the Bhagavata Gita. This is text 29 of the 5th chapter. It's a very famous verse. Who knows which verse it is?
Peace bomb.
Okay, you want to repeat the Sanskrit after me? Bhotaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Surdam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati Bhotaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Surdam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatvam Santim Rachati Bhotaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Surdam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatvam Santim Rachati Bhotaram Yagya Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Surdam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatvam Santim Rachati. Any of you have memorized this famous verse? Yes.
Bhotaram yagya tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati.
Anybody else? Yes.
Bhoktaram Yagyatapsam
Bhotaram yagya tapasam
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Suhrida Sarva Bhutanam
Suridam Sarva Bhutanam
Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati
Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati.
Bhoktaram yajna tapasam
Bhotaram yagya tapasam
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Suhridam Sarva Bhutanam
Suridam Sarva Bhutanam
Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati.
Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati.
Anyone else?
Bhotaram yagya tapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram Suridam Sarva Bhutanam Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati.
Bhoktaram Yagyatapsam
Bhotaram yagya tapasam
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Sarvaloka Maheshwaram
Suhrida Sarvabhutanam
Suridam Sarva Bhutanam
Gyatva Mam Shantim Richati.
Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati.
I'll read the translation now. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material existence. You want to repeat after me? A person in full consciousness of me,
A person in full consciousness of me,
knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary
the ultimate beneficiary
of all sacrifices and austerities,
of all sacrifices and
the
austerities,
Supreme Lord of all planets
the Supreme Lord of all the planets,
and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities,
all living entities,
attains peace
attain peace
from the pangs
from the pangs
of material miseries.
Material miseries.
Explanation by Srila Prabhupada. The conditioned souls within the clutches of illusory energy are all anxious to attain peace in the material world, but they do not know the formula for peace, which is explained in this part of the Bhagavad Gita. The greatest peace formula is simply this: Lord Krishna is the beneficiary in all human activities. Men should offer everything to the transcendental service of the Lord, because He is the proprietor of all the planets and demigods. No one is greater than Him. Om Jnana Jnananjana Shalakya Chakshurmantanina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mahavishtam Sakamena Bhutale Sayanam Bhakadamaya Radhi Swaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi
Gaur Bhakta
Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna. The Krishna conscious movement was founded by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who was a pure devotee of the Lord, coming in disciplic succession. And the philosophy presented by this movement is strictly based on Shastra. Shastra means, who knows the meaning of Shastra? Shastra means words of God. Can there ever be any flaws in the words of God?
No.
It's a question to the audience. Any? Especially our Bhakti Riksha participants. Can there ever be any flaws in the teachings of the Lord? Yes, no? No. Just like we're reading the Bhagavad Gita. You know how all this knowledge is? Who knows how all the knowledge is?
5,000.
Time immemorial. In other words, 5,000 years ago Krishna said, I imparted this knowledge to the sun god Vivaswan. You have a name, I have a name. The sun god also has a name. And in course of time, the knowledge was lost. And therefore, I'm giving it to you again. Why? Because you're my friend and devotee. So, if we want to understand the teachings of the Lord, we have to understand it through the medium of a devotee of the Lord. And if you receive it through the medium of a devotee of the Lord, then you can understand this message. That's beautiful. Where is this voice coming from? Right. No, I don't mind it. What is this? Alarm. Okay. Yeah, it comes every second. So, when the true teachings of the Lord are presented, there is the desired result. That is, people take to that message. Before Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada came to preach, so many other preachers came, but no one was able to make the impact that Swami Prabhupada made and is making. Why? Because he presented the pure message of Godhead without any adulteration. And if we want to achieve peace of mind, that is the only alternative. Accept the teaching of the Lord as they are. And Krishna, in this verse, is explaining, we must understand the Bhagavad Gita contains a summary of the vast Vedic knowledge. And the Bhagavad Gita is teaching us do's and don'ts. When you buy your car, do you get a manual with a car? Yes? No? And in the manual, what do they write? Do's and don'ts, isn't that? If you do this, the car will last well. And if you don't do this, if you do this, The car will get spoiled. All right. Buy any product, any expensive product, with a manual to get do's and don'ts. So similarly, now that you've got this human life, shouldn't you have do's and don'ts? Yes or no? You all work for different corporations. I'm sure that when you join the corporation, they give you an introduction to the corporation. And they tell you, what are the guidelines you're expected to perform at? Do they say that? Or they don't say that in America? They say that, isn't it? Every corporation tries to have its own culture. Even though they all have the same culture, but they'll make you believe that their culture is superior. So they introduce you to their culture. And they expect you to conform to their guidance, isn't it? And if you want to keep your job and not get fired, then you have to do that. So similarly, the Supreme Lord also tells us what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. And this is revealed in the Vedic scriptures. The word Veda means knowledge. Now, there are basically two main headings for knowledge. Material knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Of course, spiritual knowledge gets further subdivided into many categories, like fruitive workers, those who want yogic realization, those who want to merge with the Supreme. There are different shades, but basically there is some element of desire for spiritual knowledge. And then there's material knowledge, knowledge that you get in schools and colleges, and knowledge that you get in professional courses and so on. Now, spiritual knowledge should be presented as it is, if you want the true benefit. Just like if you want to recover from a disease, you are advised to take the doctor's medicine as it is, isn't it? Without any adulteration. So similarly, we should take Krishna's message as it is. That's why when Bhaktivedanta Goswami Prabhupada presented the Bhagavad Gita, he presented it under the heading Bhagavad Gita as it is. So sometimes people say, what's the difference between Bhagavad Gita as it is and the other Gitas? So Prabhupada explains this point in the introduction to the Gita. He says that as it is means presenting Krishna teachings without any distortion or adulteration. How can we distort Krishna's teaching? Krishna is the Supreme Lord. He's not someone ordinary. It's become fashionable to think that everyone can have his own interpretation of the Gita. I've met scholars, etc., who say, Gita, you can have your own interpretation. You can look at the same words from 100 different angles. But you can't. That's like if you want to drive from here to Washington or here to LA or here to anywhere. I'm sure you know there's only one bona fide route or two, not that there are 100 routes. So similarly, if you want to understand God, or if you want to understand spirituality, then we should accept the teachings of the Lord as they are. What is the need for spirituality? Who would like to answer that? What is the need for spiritual knowledge? Yes, anyone? I'm making this class a little interactive. Otherwise you all will go to sleep. So I don't want to go to sleep. Okay. What is the need for spirituality?
To go home ka shurara.
Okay, that's one reply. Yes.
Material life is full of misery.
Huh?
Material life is full of miseries.
Okay, so that's the solution.
To understand the purpose of life.
We are actually spiritual in nature, you know that? We are not mature. A fish by nature is meant to live on land or water. Suppose you place the fish on a golden plate on on land, will the fish survive? Yes?
No.
Yes or no?
No.
Why?
Because fish ultimately
They can't breathe.
Because fish is better to live in water. Similarly, we are also constitutionally meant to engage in spiritual activities. Because we are spiritual in nature. There is within us a soul. Is that right or wrong? Everyone has a soul? Imagine. If there's no soul, there won't be any consciousness. What is death? Death is nothing but a change of dress. When a person dies, we cry, we lament, we say, he's gone. He was such a nice man. Even if we hate someone, after death, everyone likes him. So we praise him, we glorify him. And we say, he's gone. But the body is right there. So how do we say he's gone? There must be something that's gone, isn't it? That something is the spirit soul. Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, explains the nature of the soul. And this fact is being admitted by modern day scientists also. I remember way back in 1968, there was a front page article in a Canadian newspaper, and it showed an interview by a leading heart surgeon. This man had seen people die for 32 years. He was a big doctor. And he was appointed by the Canadian government to investigate, to do a study. At what point should a person be allowed to die? Are there any doctors here? In Washington we have a lot of doctor devotees. In every program there are 4 or 5 doctors. Anyway, as some of you may know, this is a big discussion going on in the medical circles. How long should you try to keep a patient artificially alive? Sometimes you keep a person alive medically, but practically he's virtually dead. He's like a vegetable. But with all these machines, gadgets, and the insurance companies are very much opposed to keeping these people artificially alive because they have to pay for it. These cancers are expensive and they don't want to pay. So now, so this discussion is going on. So this doctor was heading up that panel for the Canadian government. And he said, after seeing people die for 32 years, he's convinced that something in the body, when that something leaves the body is pronounced dead. So we saw this in the front page, and we sent this article to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada then wrote to this doctor, thanking him for at least acknowledging that there's something in the body, and when that something leaves the body is pronounced dead. But this doctor said in that interview, now we are going to search what is that something. So Prabhupada said, I'm very happy that you now want to research what is that something. And then Prabhupada quoted several verses from the 2nd chapter of the Gita, in which he said, this is what the Gita has to state. Yes, there is a soul in the body that never takes birth, never dies. And Prabhupada said, but you will never be able to see that soul. Doesn't matter how hard you try. And in the end of that debate, that scientists acknowledge that what the Vedas have to offer is far superior to what modern science can ever offer. And I believe this whole exchange is published in a book called The Science of Self-Realization. All of you should get this book. And in that book, there's this exchange between Prabhupada and the scientists. So the point we are trying to make is that even modern science accepts that there is something in the body, and that something, when it leaves the body is pronounced dead. The same point is also an essential ingredient of the message of the Bible. The Bible makes a similar point. What shall I do if thou gainest the whole world, but suffer the loss of your eternal soul? And the Bible is saying, you will gain the whole world, but if you lose your eternal soul, what did you gain? Nothing. So this is directly based on second chapter of the Bhagavata Gita. So the Vedas explain that if you want real peace, you should engage in spiritual activity. But what does Krishna say here? Krishna says that I am the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities. When we do sacrifice, we do austerity, but we should do that with the purpose of pleasing Krishna. Every activity has to have a target, am I right? Just like you do a job. You do a job by, you want to please your boss, you want to please your supervisor. Because if he is pleased, then your job is safe, am I right? Is that true? If your boss is not pleased, then you'll have a bumpy ride. And sometimes the plane rides are very bumpy. So, Krishna says, please me. Do the austerities for my pleasure. And he says in the end, you attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. What Krishna is saying, the material life is nothing but full of misery. Is that true in America also?
Yes.
Well, in America you have a vision of what Hollywood is presenting. You know, this Hollywood's done a great job in presenting American culture to the whole world. And everyone all over the world thinks, America? Oh, it's heaven. If you give people a choice, you want a green card or a place in heaven, many people will say, yeah, green card. Because they think that this is almost heavenly. Well, having come here, all of you had some pious karma, so you won the lottery ticket and got your visa for America. Well, there's so many people who try to come to America. Not everyone manages, isn't it? And there's so many of them who qualify. So you had some good karma in your previous life. The karma in your previous life said, this life you'll be comfortable, so you'll get a visa for America. So you're here in America. But having come here, do you feel that there's no misery here? Of course, right now, most of you are looking at your faces are middle-aged, and you haven't really, and you probably have a fairly healthy body. But this body is not going to remain healthy for long, right? Is it? Is the old age going to come on all of you, or is some insurance company that tells you pay our premium and will save you from old age? In America they do everything, isn't it? I was surprised. I was flying on Delta Airlines yesterday from New York. So I was going through the Delta in-flight magazine. And they had a doctor teaching people how to smile. There was a whole page ad on this new technique of smile management. You've heard of a new phenomenon in medical circles called pain management?
Yes.
That's quite common. You have doctors now who specialize in pain. Pain is pain. How are you going to manage pain? By taking some painkillers and so on. So in the material world, they keep coming up with new phenomena, you know. And we keep thinking, well, if I do this course in smile management, I'll always smile. If I do this course in pain management, if I have a doctor that knows how to manage pain, then my pain will go down. but it's just shifting pain. It's not producing pain. Just like in India, in these parks, you have these yoga groups. In almost every park in India and in North India, they have yoga groups. And in every park, because I walk every day, so I go to different parks. And in every park, they have what they call these laughter groups. You know, heard of that? So what they do, they go to the park, and one of the exercises, you laugh. And they virtually force themselves to laugh. And the test is who can laugh the longest. So you ask them, what's the logic? And they'll say the logic is, if you laugh in the morning, you'll laugh all day. Just like when New Year starts, we wish each other a Happy New Year, isn't it? Doesn't matter, in different parts of the world there are different New Years. The Indian New Year starts after Diwali. The Russian New Year starts in December. But the Christian New Year is most influential. So by and large, we accept the Christian New Year as everyone's New Year, isn't it? I mean, January 1 is a New Year for everyone. Doesn't matter what your cultural background is. But in different parts of the world, even in India, within the one country of India, there are so many different New Years. South India, the tradition is different, North India is different. So, but generally, the internationally accepted New Year is a Christian New Year, January 1st. So in the New Year's time we wish each other. What do we wish each other?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. And on birthdays we wish each other happy birthday. So when you wish somebody Happy New Year, what do you mean? Would any of our Bhakti Vriksha people like to respond? When you wish someone Happy New Year, anyone can respond. Okay, Bhakti Vriksha.
So we are wishing that the whole year is good for you and expecting a return wishes on their behalf.
So when you wish someone Happy New Year, you're telling him, may this New Year bring nothing but happiness to you. And what does it mean bringing nothing but happiness to you? Don't fall sick. Because nobody likes to go to a doctor. Does anyone like going to a doctor?
No.
Does anyone? Even if you have 100% medical coverage, do you like going to a doctor? I know some of our friends in India, they have big hospitals. They're the owners of these big 7-star hospitals. But they tell me, but they hate going to the hospital. They don't mind if other people fall sick and come there, because that's how they make their mind. But they don't want to fall sick. So the point is, we don't want to face disease, old age, isn't it? Does anybody like old age? Yes?
No.
No one's replying.
No, Maharaj.
In America, you're coming to be more aggressive. Does anyone like old age?
No, Maharaj.
Why? Why do they like old age?
Capabilities are less.
Yes. And every day, diseases are increasing. If you ever want to compliment an old person, you just have to tell him how young he looks. And if you ever want to insult a young person, just tell him how old he looks. So nobody likes old age, nobody likes disease and all that, but we have to face all that. So basically, if we analyze, even if the whole world tells you Happy New Year, Happy Birthday, basically our lives are full of misery. So Krishna says, if you want to become free from the pangs of material miseries, who is a gentleman? A gentleman is one who sees that there's nothing but misery all around and who wants to explore, how can I get out of this situation? So birth, death, disease, old age will not leave you. Whether you're in America or a tiny city in India. And in addition, Our mind is always troubling us, isn't it? You see someone with a nice car and you don't have a good car, the mind troubles you. If someone has something which you don't have, the mind troubles you. If something happens to a relative or a friend, the mind troubles you. So then other entities trouble us, and then there are natural calamities. Last night I was telling you the frequency of earthquakes in the last 5 years. Last 3 years has gone up 5 times. In America, the land of technology. There's so much technology in America, isn't it? You could be having a European meeting of heads of state, and the American satellite could spy on it. So it's amazing. So people who come up with this technology of spying and counter-spy are really intelligent. But with all this technology, can you stop disease, old age, earthquakes, natural disasters? No. You have all these tall buildings and hope nothing happens. If there is an earthquake, the best of technology won't work. I saw in India they sell steel, anti-earthquake steel. There's no such thing as anti-earthquake steel. But they like to make you believe if you use the steel, then this is earthquake resistant. So there is nothing but misery in material life. And if you want a solution, then follow what Krishna says. Become fully conscious of me. Becoming fully conscious of Krishna means understand there is a Lord. The name of the Lord is Krishna. There is God in Krishna. Then understand that He is our well-wisher. Just like parents assume that they are the well-wishers of children. At least when the children are young, they accept the parents are well-wishers. Am I right? But when they get older, what do they say? I don't need you to tell me what to do. I know what to do. Is that true universally?
Yes.
Yeah. And then when I get a little older, they'll say, what did He ever do for me? This is what He called a grateful world, or an ungrateful world, to be more precise. So, here Krishna says, be fully conscious of me. So being conscious of Krishna means understanding that the Supreme Lord in control, understanding that He is our well-wisher. He knows what is good for me, what is good for us. And He is the supreme enjoyer. So Krishna says, become fully conscious of me. Know me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerity. So austerity is a must if you want to make spiritual advancement. Austerity may mean different things to different people, but in Vedic vocabulary it means you renounce what is detrimental for spiritual advancement. Just like these days, people are very health conscious, especially in this part of the world. That's why you have on every package all the ingredients written down. Why do they write the ingredients? So that the consumer knows what it contains, what's harmful, what's not harmful. So similarly, we should also know what's good for us spiritually and what's bad. So austerity means you voluntarily gave up what is detrimental for spiritual advancement. And how do you understand that? By getting knowledge from the scriptures and the saintly people. And so Krishna is the Supreme Lord of all the planets and demigods. Demigods are empowered administrators. Just like you have a head of state with a cabinet. The Lord also has different demigods in charge of different aspects of management. Just like Indra. You heard of demigod Indra?
Yes.
What is Indra in charge of?
Rain.
Can you live without rain?
No.
Then the sun god, what is he in charge of?
Light.
Reverse one. Who is in charge of the moon? Chandra. So there are different demigods, there are 33 crore demigods. So, but Krishna is the supreme. And he is our well-wisher. That means Krishna knows what is good for me, what is best for me. So, if you understand that Krishna is your well-wisher, then you also chant the holy names of Krishna. The devotees of the Krishna conscious movement all over the world beg you always to chant the Hare Krishna mantra, isn't it? Why do they beg you to chant the Hare Krishna mantra? Is somebody giving them some commission? So Krishna is giving them commission. Krishna is very pleased when somebody canvasses on his behalf. Prabhupada was once giving a lecture in Dallas. And Prabhupada said, he said when the Christians came to India, they converted people by economic incentives, which they do even today on a bigger scale than ever. When the Muslims came to India, they converted people on the basis of a sword. They would forcibly convert people. But he said, I'm an old man. I've come to your country with hardly any money, 40 rupees, and in old age. But still people took the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. Why? Because Krishna is all attractive. And so the Hare Krishna mantra is not some concoction. We beg everyone to chant Hare Krishna because this is the instruction given by the Lord in the scriptures and supported by the different devotees of the Lord. So Krishna knows what is best for us. What is the benefit of chanting the holy name? There are several benefits of chanting the holy name. One of the benefits of chanting the holy name is it cleanses the heart of the impurities. We are very impure. Is that true or false?
True.
Huh? In Atlanta too? It's nice weather here, Southern America. People are impure here also. Yes, today, thanks to technology, good things travel slow, bad things travel fast. Bad habits travel very fast, good habits travel very slow. And thanks to technology, people all over the world are expert in the science of sense enjoyment. Whether you go to a small village in India or you come to a big city here. So, we need guidance. And that guidance comes from saintly people. And saintly people, what do? They present the message of God as it is. So our spiritual master took the real message all over the world. In a brief span, he traveled 14 times all over the world. And he planted the seed of Krishna consciousness. And today there are literally thousands of people who are practicing it. Why? Because the genuine purpose satisfies them. So please stay to this chanting process. Many times we share the philosophy. We tend to agree with the philosophy. But we lack the determination. Am I right? I want to pursue spiritual life, but what to do? My family is against it, my friends are against it. Society is against it. And so we fall a victim to their wishes. But Krishna says, Rupa Goswami says, for succeeding spiritually, you need several factors. And one of them is determination. But determination is a must, even in material life, isn't it? I know that those students in India who want to get into IIT and these prestigious institutions, how they study for years and years, their only goal is to get into IIT. But they study with determination. So you all have experienced how you had to work with determination to succeed. So similarly, we need that determination to also succeed on the spiritual path. And the devotee, and that determination comes by chanting and associating with devotees. So please take the spiritual life seriously. Many times we want to take to it, but because we lack determination, we keep postponing. And by saying tomorrow, 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 before tomorrow happens, what happens? We die. So please take to this process and you will be happy. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Some questions if you have. Even sold rights to pharmaceutical companies to set up space labs. But has there been any progress so far? They go and then you can come right back. Prabhupada at that time wrote a book called Easy Journey to Other Planets. It's a beautiful book. Prabhupada said he wrote this book right after the first cosmonaut went in outer space. And Prabhupada said there is desire to travel to other planets, there's nothing new. But the way to travel to these other planets is not by mechanical devices, but by spiritual preparation. So if they say after 20 years they can make a man immortal, I'm sure the Creator will get a Nobel Prize.
And also Prabhupada says that there is no animals called dinosaur. They just created speculation.
Any questions from me? Yeah.
Human beings, spirit souls.
Pure spirit soul. Next question.
What is our main ultimate goal?
Ultimate goal is to engage in service of the Lord. That's why Krishna says, Sarvadhamam Parityajamam Mekam Shanamana. Give up all varieties of religious and then just surrender to me.
How do we attain that?
That's what we are teaching. By chanting. As Krishna explains in the Bhagavata Gita. Actually, he's asking this question for the benefit of others. Siddhartha knows. No question from the Bhaktivinoda. And Lord Shiva also acknowledges that Krishna is the Supreme. So, Krishna's planet is the highest planet. And Lord Shiva's planet is also there, Brahma's is also there, but the highest is Krishna. Do you wish to go to the Shiva Loka? In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says those who worship the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. Those who worship me come to me. Just like Krishna says, as everyone surrenders to me, I reward them accordingly. So Krishna reciprocates with our surrender. In the Bible, it is said, as you sow, you shall reap. So this is directly based on what the Gita says. All of them, when they surrender to me, I will reward them accordingly. Just like in the day-to-day lives or your medical coverage or insurance coverage, you get based on the premium you pay. So, based on our surrender, Krishna reciprocates. So how do you chant Hare Krishna mantra on a regular basis? How many rounds do you chant? No, how many rounds do you chant? One round, 2 rounds, you know. 10, 15 rounds. I mean, 10, 15 minutes or 10, 15 rounds?
Times through the day. Times. 15 times.
10, 50 times a day you utter the Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. And you?
15, 20 times.
You chant the mantra.
Yeah.
You just utter the mantra, not the whole.
No, not the whole. Just one.
And who else has his hand up? You chant also. In the back here. Now I'm specifically addressing these questions to the Bhakti Vriksha people. So you have to chant at least few rounds. At least you know one thing, chanting is beneficial, isn't it? Or does anyone think that this chanting is a waste of time? This chanting will help you in peace of mind, help you to find real happiness. And this chanting of the mantra, this mantra is coming directly from the spiritual world. But for you to experience the result, you to chant. Maybe someone who chants regularly can explain.